We live in a culture engineered to fracture your attention into 1,000 small pieces. Your phone pulses with urgency. Your feeds refresh before your mind has even caught up to your last thought. Desire is manufactured, amplified, and sold back to you in the span of seconds. Modern life is not just loud, it is relentless. It does not wait for your clarity or your intention. It pushes, it pulls, and it consumes. And so most people spend their days reacting instead of choosing, drifting instead of directing, moving from impulse to impulse, believing life is happening to them instead of through them. But intention interrupts that drift. It is the quiet practice of reclaiming authorship over your inner world. Intentional living is not rigid or ascetic. It is liberation, the act of restoring agency in a world that profits from your autopilot. This is not a motivational concept. This is a survival skill. For most of human history, life moved at the pace of human attention. People waited. They saved. They repaired what broke. Purchases were deliberate. Choices were slower. There was no algorithm whispering in your ear, shaping your desires before you formed them. Then the world accelerated. Credit stretched desires into the future. Advertising infiltrated psychology. Technology became intimate and omnipresent. Convenience reshaped the architecture of daily life. We adapted to the speed, the noise, the immediacy. But in that adaptation, something essential slipped away. Intention. We became reactive beings in a reactive culture, confusing urgency with importance and stimulation with meaning. The result is a society moving quickly, but rarely moving consciously. Every meaningful change begins in the mind. Your thoughts create the emotional climate you live inside. They define what feels possible, what feels threatening, and what you believe about yourself. Most people never pause to examine these thoughts. They inherit them, absorb them, repeat them. And those unexamined narratives quietly sculpt the shape of their lives. Intention about your thoughts is the practice of noticing. Noticing when your mind spirals into fear. Noticing when an old wound is replaying itself. Noticing when you're treating speculation as truth. You cannot control every thought that arrives, but you can control which ones you entertain, which ones you challenge, and which ones you allow to define who you are. Your mind is not a runaway machine. It is a landscape, and you decide what grows there. Lifestyle is not a collection of possessions. It is the architecture of how you live. It is the choices you make when no one is watching, the expenses you justify, the habits you reinforce. Do you choose a car because it reflects your values, or because it reflects a performance of success? Do your expenses move you toward the life you want, or anchor you into a life you feel trapped by? Does your environment empower you or quietly drain your clarity? Most of what people call lifestyle is just consumption wearing a mask. Intention removes the mask. It asks the harder question. Does this truly support the person I am becoming? Freedom is rarely about having more. It is about needing less of what never mattered. Time is the currency of a meaningful life. Not attention. Not status. Time. Yet it is the resource most casually wasted, given to distractions. Spent on obligations never consciously chosen. Sacrificed to habits that offer nothing in return. Intention with time is not about rigid scheduling. It is about honesty. Honesty about what strengthens you. Honesty about what weakens you. Honesty about where your days disappear. Every yes hides a no. Every commitment removes another possibility from your life. If you do not guard your time, someone else will gladly claim it. You cannot extend your lifespan at will, but you can reclaim the shape of your life by choosing how you spend the hours you already have. Your body is the vessel through which you experience everything: clarity, energy, joy, resilience. Yet many people treat it like an afterthought. Intention here is not about perfection. It is about stewardship. It is recognizing that every meal, every night of sleep, every walk, every moment of rest either strengthens your future or quietly erodes it. Your body responds to consistency, not intensity. Caring for it is not punishment. It is preparation for a longer life, a more capable life, a more meaningful life. Your environment shapes your emotional state every day. A cluttered home introduces friction into your mind. A chaotic room amplifies stress. Digital noise becomes psychological noise. A calm space does not solve every problem, but it removes the unnecessary ones. A simple room does not guarantee happiness, but it creates room for it. Your environment is a mirror of your habits, your pace, your clarity. Intention turns that mirror into a tool rather than a burden. Stress is unavoidable. Uncontrolled stress is not. Intention about stress means recognizing what elevates your anxiety before it overwhelms you. It means choosing your pace rather than absorbing the pace of the world. It means limiting access to people who exhaust you and environments that constantly trigger your nervous system. You cannot eliminate every stressor, but you can build a life where recovery is possible and overwhelm becomes the exception, not the rule. Sleep is the foundation of mental stability, emotional regulation, metabolic function, and long-term health. But sleep rarely happens by accident. It happens through intention. A darker room, a quieter evening, slower transitions away from stimulation. Routines that tell your body it is safe to release the day. When sleep becomes deliberate instead of accidental, your life gains clarity, balance, and strength. The people you surround yourself with shape your trajectory more than your habits, your environment, or your willpower. Intention about relationships means choosing who gets access to your time, your energy, and your emotional world. You do not need dramatic exits. You simply need honesty about which relationships nourish you and which ones drain you. Your circle should reflect your values, not your guilt, your growth, not your history. Intention gives you permission to protect your peace. Identity is not discovered. It is constructed choice by choice, day by day. Most people outsource their identity to their past, their circumstances, or the expectations of others. Intention asks the deeper question, who am I choosing to become? You do not need a dramatic transformation. You only need to practice the identity you want, one deliberate choice at a time. Identity is the long-term echo of your daily intentions. Choosing intention is not easy. It goes against the momentum of modern culture. Algorithms want your attention. Advertisers want your insecurity. Platforms want your time. Your habits want the path of least resistance. Of course, intention feels unnatural at first. You are swimming against a powerful current. But drifting has never carried anyone to a life they actually wanted. Do not try to rebuild your entire life overnight. Try one day, one intentional day. Notice your thoughts. Notice your choices. Notice what drains you and what restores you. Notice where your hours go. Notice how it feels to live deliberately instead of reactively. One day is enough to feel the shift. In a world that screams for your attention, intention is the quiet revolution, and it is available to you every single morning you decide to live on purpose. The current will always be there, but so will the choice to rise above it. Thank you for watching.